Okay, this one is going to be about strings, since strings are used so often. A string can be a letter or a number or a character or a word, sentence, paragraph, book. It could be a number of things. So for my example here, let's see, I'll make my string a string, and let's see. My string is, and for the string, I'm just going to grab a little paragraph here from the Odyssey. Alright. So this is going to be a fairly large string, I guess. And some things you can do with strings. I'm going to start with regex for it's short for regular expression. I'm not going to get into it too much, but to use it, we need make a list, my list, as list, and then the my list is regex. I'm going to split, and the pattern's going to be everywhere there's a space. I'm just going to put a space there. It's going to split it, and it's going to split my string. Then we'll go ahead and just log the results. We'll do a for I equals 0 to my list size -1, and then I'll make another little string here. str as string, and str is going to be my list get whatever is at I. Log str. Okay. So let's see what it does. I'll go and put it in debug mode. And as we can see here, it went ahead and it took every word from the string, and regex, I used the split command, and everywhere there's a space, it split the string up and stored it into my list. You could also do this with an array. You can make a string array and then have it, don't tell it what the limit is, then just have it put it in there. But I think a list is a little bit easier. So it looks pretty good, except for there's lots of commas here. Maybe we don't want these commas. See, so what we could do is, before we split it, let's do my string, and then we have some commands here. You do your string variable, and then do the dot. It brings up this little list of things you can do. Let's go ahead and right now we'll just do replace. So everywhere there is a comma, we are going to replace it with, and I'm just going to do nothing, double quote, and I need to set that my string equals my string replace. And what's the error still? Oh, jeez, I left out the comma right there. Okay. Alright, now let's see what happens. I got the comma in there, and we'll run it. And so now it took out the commas, but you know, I could go through and there's a semicolon there. I'm not going to get too worried about it, but that's how you get rid of the commas anyway. So now I log, let's see, I'll go ahead and let's make it a little bit better looking. Let's do parentheses and I. Alright. See what that looks like. That way it'll tell us how many words we actually have there. And so yeah, now it just tells us we have 112 total, and where each word is located in the list, basically. So that's about as far as I'm going to go with that probably. There's with the regex portion anyway. You can actually get into regex quite a bit. You could do a Google for it. It's almost its own little programming languages. All the different things you can do with it for finding words or characters or strings or patterns, any pattern pretty much that you're looking for in a string. But okay, let's see what else we got. My string. Looking at the commands again, seeing if there's anything important here that I should point out. We got index, which is in a string you can search for a portion of the string and it'll give you an integer telling you where it is in the string. And you got index of 2, which is that's one I don't usually use. I guess with the starting, yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's just where do you start index-wise searching for it from the beginning. And then last index of is the same thing, but starting at the back. Length is something I use quite a bit. It's nice to know if a string, how big it is for different reasons. But anyway, there it is. It'll give you an integer of how many characters are in the string. We already used replace. Starts with, looking for a string that starts with a prefix. Substring is kind of nice because you can take a portion of your string and create a substring. So that's something else. And then trim is kind of nice too, because if your string has a lot of white space that you can't see that's in the beginning or the end of the string, and you're trying to manipulate the string in certain ways, then it can really mess you up. So just kind of remember, if your string's not working out right and you got the string from a website or somewhere that an API even maybe that's not functioning correctly, run it through the trim and make sure you trim off the leading and trailing white space and see if it works for you afterwards. I'll just give a quick example here. So if I had a whole bunch of space right here and I said trim, then that'll go ahead and trim that off. But let's see, I'll go ahead and log it. Log my string, and then I'll trim it, and then we'll log my string again. I'll run it. And you can see just a bunch of white space right here. Oops, what did I do wrong? 25. Let's see. Trim. Oh, for some reason I have this problem, or I always forget to set it equal to something. So my string equals the trim. Let's quickly run it here and we'll look at it. There with the white space and trimmed without the white space. Okay, let's do something else real quick. Enough of that. I'll go ahead and keep my string, I guess. String. I want to briefly get into number format, specifically number format 2, because I do use that quite a bit. When you're working with numbers, let's go ahead and do a number here. As a double. It's pretty nice to be able to, numbers are fine for the program, but when you want to output to a label or something that's human readable, you want something that looks better for your user interface anyway. So let's do a number. Actually right now I'll just do log pi, the constant pi, and just put a break right there so it stops. And you got this, not too attractive looking number here with lots of decimal places. If I was gonna do a label output, I'd probably do something more like let's log. Let's just do it this way. I'll use my string since I created it. My string is number format 2 CPI for pi, and then let's say I want one integer and I want 2 maximum fractions and no less than 2 fractions, and I'll say false on the commas every third digit, and then I'll log my string, save it, run it, and instead of this big long thing right here, we get 3.14, which probably looks better to most people who'd be using your program. The other way it's useful, say your number is 0.0004, and we're gonna get rid of pi right now. So your number, first of all, I'll go ahead and make it a 3 and a 3 right now, but we'll go ahead and log the number. See what happens. So you get this scientific notation. You got 4e to the negative 4, which a lot of people like, you know, but there's a lot of people who don't like scientific notation, and especially if it's for the general public, you might not want it to be in that format. So again, with the number format 2, you can change the way it appears using a string. And in this case, I have one integer, so it's going to have 0 point. And then I have a maximum of 3 decimal places and that's actually going to have to be 4, and a minimum of 4 decimal places in order for that 0.0, since it's on the 4th, plays out. So let's go ahead and save it, run it, and there's the not so good looking scientific notation, and some people might think this isn't so good looking either, but there it is. It actually shows you the real number that's in there, with all your places right there. That, to me, I like seeing my zeros. So whenever I output to a human readable interface, it's always going to look like that for my case. Anyway, that's another way to use number format. Might as well, they have a number format 1, but I always use number format 2 just because it can do pretty much anything that the first one can do and more. So I think that's gonna wrap it up. There's, I guess, one more thing I can mention. If you have your string and you do your dot and you don't have an option here that lets you do what you want to do, there's a library called string functions. You could download the library called string functions. It's actually J string functions, and then click on it to load it into your program here, your editor, and then you come up to the top. We'll say SF as J string functions, and string functions likes to be initialized, so we'll initialize it here. And then you have some more options. So my string, first you have to say my string is string function dot, and then you got a whole bunch of more things you can do with strings. So I probably won't go into that here. If you want to look into it, there's you can look at the forums for Basic for Java, and they have all the definitions for all these string functions. And it was originally on Basic for Android, so you might find more information about it on looking at those forums. But anyway, that's where I'm going to finish it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.